Hello, gentlemen. And what I want to talk about is essentially the dangers that will come with not learning seduction, the risks that are involved, potential pain and anguish and heartache, and the hard lessons that you're going to have to learn if you don't try and get this area of your life sorted. Because what is the common story that unfolds? This is something that I've come to notice through a lot of personal experiences, uh, the the situations that I've seen other people get into, and it's something that I've also heard various mentors um, speak about in the past. So the common story, is that guy meets the girl. There's passion in the beginning. It's very exciting and new. There's that real sense of adventure, and particularly if the guy has not had much experience, sexual and relationship based, he's going to tend to cling to the first girl that comes along and pays him a compliment, essentially. Now, even if when the two of them get together, it is both mutually very, very exciting and very good for the both of them in the beginning. The guy, in many cases, is going to cling to that girl who comes along, and especially if it's maybe the first or second girl that's come into his life, and he's been living from a place of real scarcity and hasn't had any real choice with the women that he brings into his life. So guys will tend to hang on to that first or that second girl for basically a fear that they won't be able to find anyone else. That's essentially what it is. And this is what I tend to see happens. A lot of people stay in relationships far longer than they should, basically because they don't know how to operate on their own. They don't know how to get back into the game. They don't know how to start to get that consistency happening again and bring that abundance into their lives of the women that they really desire. And they don't have true choice in their dating life because they haven't taken the time to really learn this elite art form. They've always just been restricted to circumstance and limited themselves to the select few women that they know in their small social circles, in their workplace, in their classroom, whatever it may be. So even when there is this passion and excitement in the beginning, a lot of the time it's going to get to a point where that dies away. The guy, over time, because he hasn't had a lot of experience and he's living in this place of scarcity, and he's afraid of what will happen if they do break up. He'll start to become over possessive and controlling about what she can and can't do, who she can and can't see. Definitely will become jealous. His insecurities and lack of self-esteem will start to shine through over time, especially if he senses that the girl is getting bored, just starting to think more about the changes she could make in her life and how different things could be. And he's almost definitely going to be sexually inexperienced, which means that the sex is inevitably going to be bad or not very good. And over time, that is also going to really strain the relationship. Some people will tell you that that's not really the most important part of a relationship, and that yes, there are definitely many other factors that come into creating a strong, healthy relationship with a strong foundation. But if people tell you that the sex, it doesn't matter, they're kidding themselves. And the odds are in these initial relationships where two people, maybe even both, are coming from a place of scarcity and they've just happened upon each other, fallen into each other's arms, they cling on to each other, they become codependent and controlling, possessive, jealous, and likely the sex isn't going to be great. And it probably hasn't been from the very beginning, which is not a good place to start a relationship from. So then, inevitably, they will break up, possibly after many years, and many years longer than they should have been together, because people get very comfortable, and the thought of leaving and being alone is often far more terrifying than staying in an unhealthy, destructive relationship. That's really the reason why people stay in relationships that aren't good, that aren't healthy, where they're not satisfied, they're not fulfilled, they're not happy. It's that fear of, will I find anyone else after this? And yes, you will. Most people are not going to have their genes just deleted from existence, and after that one relationship that doesn't work out, aren't going to be able to find anyone else. That's very unlikely. But if you don't take the time out to learn how to understand women better, understand relationships and yourself better, start to discover what it is that you're really looking for, what you starting to realize what you can offer the woman, what she can offer you, what you like in people, what you don't like, what boundaries you have, what you'll accept, what you won't accept. If you don't take the time out to become skillful in this area, then you are never going to have that consistency in your dating life. You're not going to have any sort of abundance, and you're not going to have any true choice in terms of the women that you actually choose to bring into your life, because you find them to be amazing, beautiful human beings that you really want to be around and have relationships with and have sex with and have great times with. If you don't get to a place where you're really choosing the women that you bring into your life, as opposed to them just falling into your lap, or as opposed to meeting them through a friend of a friend, or just through some sort of office party or something like that, then likely the relationship that you get into is going to be based on weak foundations, where there isn't probably a really strong emotional connection between you two. There maybe isn't really strong physical attraction. There probably is going to be average or above average sexual experiences at best. And it's just a bad place to start a relationship. But people are so afraid of being alone that they get into relationships with the wrong people, because they can't see this massive pool of people around them that they could potentially choose from if they bothered to sort this area of their life out. And it's a huge pool. You can meet anyone, and it's the most simple, obvious thing in the world, but nobody recognizes it, or people choose not to take notice of it because the thought of actually starting to really develop yourself in this way and make these really big changes and really look inward and really get onto this difficult but incredible path is terrifying to a lot of people, that it doesn't even enter their reality. They suppress those kind of ideas and don't even understand how, for instance, meeting women on the streets during the day is even a thing, is even a possibility. And it's crazy. It's crazy the way most people think they've just got this tiny little pool to choose from, and that's the only way that a man and a woman can come together. And it limits your options so much. So guys, if you're one of those people that can relate to this, you've maybe been in a destructive sort of relationship and you've been in it for too long, or you're coming from a place of scarcity and you're having very long periods where you're on your own and you're not happy about it, the time has come to commit to getting good at this, to really commit and stop thinking about seduction and start getting out there and taking real action and making it a priority in your life, sacrificing other things if you need to, and understanding that this is an incredibly huge and important area of your life that you should be prioritizing, because arguably the source of most of your joy in life is going to be based around the connections and the relationships that you have with people in general, but definitely with the women that you bring into your life. So take the time out and get at least to a place of competence with this stuff so that you can start to have actual choice in your dating life. Don't jump into relationships with the first woman that comes along. Don't be so tempted, which a lot of guys are, to just jump off this path straight away once you get into it, because after a little bit of getting out there and meeting women, it starts to work for you, and after a relatively short amount of time you're seeing progress, and that this amazing, beautiful girl does come into your life through your own choosing and your own making. That's great, but understand that you don't want to step off this path prematurely if you're really trying to develop yourself in this way and really trying to get good and really learn these skills. It can be tempting to just step off the path when that one of those early girls come into your life when you start doing this. But then you're facing a similar problem to what you've had in the past. Maybe the relationship will be, this new one will be based on stronger foundations, but odds are you're still learning, you're still growing, you're still finding out who you are and what you like and what you need right now. And jumping into a relationship when you're not ready will likely bring pain for the both of you, ultimately. I hope that this has been beneficial for you, and I hope it's been relatable, and you really take the message that this is not something you should take lightly. It's really not something that is optional, and especially if you've been kind of thinking about seduction in this way and thinking about making these changes and getting involved in this, the time has come to really act. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next podcast.